So next, Shivani throws to a developing scene in the back where we see Hogan, Bischoff, Savage, Marcus, Buff Bagwell, and Scott Norton all coming out of a limo. The mood is somber as Hogan is yelling at Bischoff, "Where are they, Easy? I swear to God, dude, if they don't show up here soon, they're out of the group like all the rest. I need people who I can depend on, brother. I need people who are in it for life if I'm going to get my belt back, dude." I mean, it sounds like Hogan, does it not?
I'm going to get my belt back, Jack.
I almost threw in Jack, by the way, because I was like, it does rhyme. It feels like a Hulk Hogan thing, but I was like, not doing it.
You got to be serious at this moment in time. It's a match.
As silly as Hogan is in general, like this is a serious moment. You know, there's some trouble. All right, so after the break, we hear that that NWO music, and we see Hogan, Bischoff, Savage, Bagwell, and Norton come through the curtain. Hogan is not doing his usual strutting around and mugging to the camera. Everybody's pissed off and somber. When they get to the ring, Bischoff grabs the mic and holds it for Hogan. Bischoff has a shiner from getting punched by Scott Hall the night before.
Yes.
What you see?
True development. A true new development.
A true development. But hold on to your butts, folks. What you see here, dude, Hogan says, is all that remains of the NWO. We need to trim the fat with some of the brothers who couldn't get the job done last night. And after that wuss Sting cheated me out of my world heavyweight title, some of the other brothers show their true colors. Where was Big Kev? He called me the morning of the match to tell me that he had my back, but then he no-shows and I don't hear a peep. Where was Conan? Always a faithful soldier, but last night he bailed on me and the rest of his brothers. Don't even get me started on Six, brother. I haven't seen him in weeks. And I lost my place. And worst of all, what's the problem, Scott Hall? You bail on Eazy-E last night, and then you have the nerve to put your hands on him. If the four of you still want to be part of the NWO family, you got some explaining to do, dude.
Ooh, man.
Tony Schiavone directs our attention to the entryway where Scott Hall has emerged with no music. Standing behind him in street gear are Curt Hennig and Rick Rude, both looking as angry as Scott. Hall has the mic in his hand. "Hey, yo," he starts. "You want to talk about having nerve? How about having the nerve to kick the two men standing behind me out of a group that I started with Kevin Nash? Curt Hennig taught me everything I know about the business when I started out in Minnesota, and Rick Rude took Big Kev under his wing when Kev's career started in this garbage company. Speaking of my big buddy Kevin Nash, him and Conan had personal business to attend to last night. And you'd know that if you cared about anybody but yourself. He's not playing around.
Scott is throwing toothpicks.
He said at some point, we lost sight of the true goal with the NWO. When it started, it was about taking over WCW and getting rid of the old guys that held us back. But you changed the focus to one goal, making sure that you always got your hands on the big gold belt." That's right, Hogan says, because when you hold the most important title in the world, you control the wrestling business, which is why tonight I'm taking advantage of the rematch clause in my contract and forcing Sting to defend that belt tonight here on Nitro. Scott Hall interrupts. "Maybe you forgot, brother, but there's only one number one contender. He's 6'7", more handsome than 10 movie stars, and you're looking right at him." Hall and Hogan argue before J.J. Dillon comes from the back with a mic in hand. "Technically," he starts, "both of you are correct. You each have a legitimate claim for a shot at the belt. That's why tonight, in the main event, we're going to have a triple threat match between you, Hollywood Hogan, you, Scott Hall, and our champion, Sting." Hall and Hogan protest, but JJ pays no attention and walks to the back. The camera finds Sting looking down from the rafters at his two opponents as Schiavone and crew hype the main event and the huge changes in the NWO.
Is the Vulture with Sting?
The Vulture is holding the belt, Dominic, up in the rafters. For those of you who are just listening to the audio, he is not. I'm smiling right now. Of course, the Vulture is not holding his belt.
Is the child narrating Sting's thoughts?
But yeah, I always thought it was weird that the next night they redid the match, but then I was like, what about Scott Hall? Wasn't he the number one contender? So I'm like, well, let's have them both do it. They both do have a legitimate claim because there is a rematch clause, is there not?
Yeah, right. So hey, there you go. I like it. So what a setup. Yeah, mentioned, but note back to history between Hall and Hennig. Then you got Rick Rude and Kevin Nash. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, Nash in shoot interviews always says that he was a Rude boy when he was in WCW, which I think means that he traveled with Rude, and Rude like kind of passed a lot of knowledge on to him. So I'm like, it kind of makes sense for Rude and to be aligned with Nash and Hennig to be aligned with Hall. So stay tuned on that.
Attention to detail.
That's it. All right, it's time for the main event, and Tony is saying that if this is all, he's wondering if this is all a ruse by the NWO, and he's saying that it would basically be a 2-on-1 match with Hall and Hogan versus Sting if that's the case. Bobby Heenan, who came out at the second hour, says that he saw real hatred in Hall's face, and he expects this match to be a legit three-way dance for the prize of prizes. Michael Buffer does his thing, and we're rolling. Scott Hall comes to the ring with no music, followed by Hogan, who is visibly angry as he makes his way down the ramp. Sting repels from the ceiling, and the match is underway.
Is anybody accompanying them?
Nope, so they're all on their own. At first, Hall and Hogan do both team up on Sting, and the announcers fear that they've been tricked. Soon, though, Hogan nudges Hall out of the way to get at Sting, and Hall responds by giving Hogan a stiff shove, which elicits a pretty big pop from the crowd, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Oh, yes. I'd be popping if I was a kid.
Absolutely. So Hogan gets in Hall's face, and it soon erupts into a full-blown brawl between the two, exchanging blows. Hogan gains the advantage, though, after he does an eye rake to Hall and tees off until Hall flatbacks for him. As Hall is trying to regain his feet, Hogan yells down at him, pointing his finger at Scott accusingly. Sting comes up behind Hogan, yanks on his skullet, and nails him with the Scorpion Death Drop. Sting makes the cover, but Hall just barely breaks it up. Hall goes off on Sting as Hogan is laid out, nailing him with vicious punches before hitting him with a choke slam, after which, of course, Hall does his classic mock of the Giant, which was one of my favorite things as a kid. It always cracked me up. Scott signals for the outsider's edge, and it looks like he might have Sting, as Hogan he's barely stirred. Hall gets him set up, but Larry Zbyszko has snuck down to ringside, and he grabs Hall's boot. This distracts Hall for long enough for Sting to give him a back body drop. Hogan has managed to get to his feet, but he's leaning in a corner trying to catch his breath, and Sting abandons Hall and runs over and gives Hogan a hellacious Stinger splash. Hogan drops to the mat and rolls out of the ring to the floor. Hall feeds Sting's comeback and soon gets a Stinger splash himself. The crowd noise is starting to swell as they see where this thing is going. Hall has stumbled out of the corner and landed perfectly in the center of the ring. Sting locks him in the Scorpion Deathlock. Hogan is trying to get back into the ring to break it up, but it's too late. Hall submits to a massive pop. Shivani's going nuts, and Nitro goes off the air.
Man.
And that is that.
We're out of time.
Well, the tape machines are rolling. So yeah, that's it for this week in Nitro. Some major shakeups in the NWO. I felt like after Starrcade 1997, it was time to change things. And I don't necessarily mean branching NWO into two separate pieces. So let's see where it goes. It's gonna be a fun year.